The question has, did he come too far to the right? I was under the impression you could make as big an arc as possible. The argument might be that he actually entered the racetrack itself once you get to that second white line. If we back that up one more time, between the two corners, there's two white lines on the racetrack. One is kind of the top of the access road. The other one is the apron of the racetrack. Marty.
Well, Steve, this team has been flawless on pit road for a long time. They got a speeding penalty for the first time in 90-plus races last week, and this is what Alan Gustafson wants clarification on, Steve. Right here, he wants to know, was it when we came up in the center of the corner? And right now, they're telling him it was in turn 2. That's where your blend line penalty came from, but Alan Gustafson still wants to talk to officials to understand why that happened.
Chase Elliott pulls right back up on the track when he was not allowed to. He crossed the white line illegally against the NASCAR rules. The NASCAR rules said you were not allowed to go up on the racing surface after you exit the pit road. Chase Elliott did that and was penalized immediately. I'm going to paint the picture for you on this one. Coming down to the final few laps of the race, Tony Stewart led rookie Regan Smith down the pack at Talladega. This would ultimately be one of the biggest controversial moments in NASCAR history. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but Tony Stewart would intentionally push Regan Smith down below the yellow line, and Regan Smith would pass Tony Stewart. In the NASCAR rulebook back then, if you were pushed underneath the yellow line, the person who pushed you wasn't even going to be penalized. It was you because you went below the yellow line. NASCAR has since changed that rule in the rulebook, but in 2008, it was different times, and Regan Smith got screwed out of a win at Talladega in 2008.
Tony Stewart has never won at Talladega in a NASCAR Sprint Cup car.
He's going to have to do a lot of blocking right here. They've got to run on him. Got to run.
Here they come.
I can't go down there and do that, though.
Actually, I think it's legal on the last lap.
He might have got it right there.
Here's the replay again. Watch a 0-1.
And he got forced down there. I mean, Tony Stewart actually forced him down a little bit.
Well, yeah, if you're going to consider that he only... Yeah.
They are saying Tony Stewart has won the race. Tony Stewart is the official winner here at Talladega. They would not allow that pass below the yellow line.
That's the only way that can be. You can't go. You can't race one way for 187 laps and change on the last lap.
He can't do it in 1 and 2. Logano looks back. He has a car length now. Joey Logano through 3 and 4 for the final time. There's the contact. He does get to him. The 11 on the inside. He gets into the wall. Dillon's going to win it at the line.
In a very controversial finish for the 2024 Richmond race, Austin Dillon takes out race leader Joey Logano and then proceeds to take out race leader Denny Hamlin once he takes the lead. Austin Dillon would pick up the checkered flag in the win, but it wasn't without even more controversy. Joey Logano sped down pit road and almost ran over Austin Dillon's family and pit crew members. Now, something that's uncalled for, that is uncalled for.
Ooh, he almost got taken there. Mike Wallace moved up on him a little. Oh, Greg Sachs getting tagged. He comes right in front of car number 3, and moving by is car number 4. Ernie Irvin got through it. Hard on the brakes was Dale Earnhardt, who brings out a caution here. What do you think of that one, Bonnet?
I'll tell you, they went up behind him, got into him. They got together, come off turn 4, give him a little shove, turned around right there.
Now this is an interesting situation. The flag is out, right, for the car that spun, which is Sachs. The leader by 15 seconds was Jarrett, but after a caution, this should bring Earnhardt, who tapped the 68 right up on his rear bumper. Let's see what NASCAR is going to do here. You see first that Ernie Irvan incident as Mike Wallace came up a bit, and here comes Earnhardt. He's been trying for 6 laps to deal with Sachs. Just gets a little piece of the back end. Around comes Sachs directly down in front of Earnhardt. Whoa, on the bridle there. Slows her down. Does not make contact, but caution is out. This at lap 328. It happened in lap 327. 1 lap penalty on Earnhardt. Let's go to Randy, who's down there in his pit.
Well, this team is absolutely irate. Earnhardt came over the radio, guys. He said he never touched him. So I don't know what the camera can see from there, but Earnhardt swears he never touched him. Now, we talked a bit about whether or not they can go the distance. Earnhardt's obviously going to lose a lap here. Here goes the caution car. The first one is by him. As far as guys being able to go the distance, the 4 car thinks they can. Now, we got to wait and see if Earnhardt can get back out front here on a restart and catch a caution to be back in contention. But Earnhardt is definitely upset.
And so is Richard Childress.
During the 1993 Coca-Cola 600, Dale Earnhardt Sr., when leading the race, crashed into a lapped car of Greg Sachs. This would ultimately penalize Earnhardt and give him a 1-lap penalty for aggressive rough driving. Back in this time in NASCAR, it was very rare that somebody got handed out a penalty like this. It seems like NASCAR is very inconsistent with their rules callings back in 1990s because they didn't know what exactly was rough driving, what was intentional, and what was just an accident. But by the looks of this, Earnhardt definitely intended to get into the lapped car. But unfortunately for NASCAR, even if they were upset at Dale Sr., he was still able to do Dale Sr. things and walk away with the checkered flag, picking up the win that night later on.
Second.
Somebody missed the turn entirely.
3 wide, 4 wide for second. Here comes Austin Cindric. Ryan Blaney sideways in front of the field.
Side by side up front, though. Chastain, he's right there. They're going side by side through the kink.
And around goes the 1. He's able to get by the 8.
Unbelievable. Sideways, though. That's going to allow Reddick to get a run on him. Lost momentum on corner exit. A lot of dirt and debris on the tires.
Chastain went off the track. So he did that access road to get back on track. Now,
I am sure. And all the places you can race here, you were looking for a spot there at the end. What were you thinking?
What do you mean, where?
Taking the access road there and getting off course there.
Oh, just trying not to be in the carnage there in turn 1. I thought we were 4 wide and couldn't go any farther right, and just decided to take the NASCAR access lane out there.
During the 2022 Indianapolis road course race, Wild Ross Chastain made a new path for himself. He went off the track intentionally because he was quote-unquote avoiding a wreck, and in his post-race interview, he didn't even remember it. When Chastain got back on the racetrack, he was actually battling for the lead with Tyler Reddick. He battled with Reddick in these closing laps and ultimately came across the finish line in second. But it wasn't going to stand as NASCAR realized what Chastain did and disqualified his second place position, putting him last on the lead lap. Ultimately for Chastain, this move didn't work out, but it honestly was a valiant effort at trying to gain some amazing track position and a win.
Yeah, we're catching up with Robbie now. The back of the hauler was coming down. Come on in here, Steve. Pull back. We got a little more cord back in there. Okay, very good. So, top 10 finish for you. Great night for you. We were looking at some debris possibility coming out of your car, roll bar padding, anything like that going on?
Not that I'm aware of. We had a good run tonight. We broke a diff late in the race and had a shot at probably better finish than 10th. So I'm pretty happy with the run we had tonight.
And we're looking for, okay, Rob, we're showing it now here just so you can get a look at it. Can you guys run it back one more time because we didn't have it right in here. There you go. I'm messing up his hauler here. Robbie, there's your car.
Does this, what'd you see?
Back it up one more time, guys. We just get Robbie get a good look at this. Keep going. Keep going back. Back, 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 back. We just want you to take a look because we're trying to figure out. It may have been something you ran over as well.
Might have been something I run over because I definitely didn't throw anything out the window, so I don't know.
Okay, we appreciate it. Top 10 run for you tonight, though.
Yeah, let's roll it out and check it out. Looked like it came out from the back of the car, actually.
Okay, how did you guys have been lucky dog a couple times tonight. I mean, it was a great comeback for you guys.
Yeah, we had a really good night. We lost. We had one bad pit stop. We lost a lap with that, and that hurt us. And we had a good car. We had a top 10 car all night long. Just started last, and it was hard to get all the way back to the front.
Great. We appreciate you taking the time, Rob.
Thanks.
Bill.
Green flag, green flag.
If they don't get by Jeff Gordon before they come around the next time, they will not pass it. And Michael
Waltrip. Jeff Green is involved. Jeff Gordon spinning down the inside. Gordon is in the grass. They're racing for the lead at the head of the pack, double wide.
Stay below the white line. You got some people out there. There you go.
Sterling Marlin, he's got damage. He must have hit Gordon.
Well, I'm sure he's checked. He may have been wondering how that right front damage looks.
The car. Sterling Marlin is jumping out of his car. He's going around to look at the right front fender. But, he can't do that.
You can't work on your car under the red flag. That's the NASCAR rule.
Pull it off a little bit.
You're not allowed to work on your car under the red flag.
Sterling Marlin pulls one of the stupidest things to do in NASCAR. While leading the Great American Race, the biggest race of the year, he tries to pull his fender out under the red flag. Under the NASCAR rulebook, you are not allowed to repair your vehicle under the red flag, or even touch your vehicle for that matter. Marlin broke the rules and was placed last on the lead lap with a restart with just a handful of laps to go. He would forfeit his lead position and lose the Daytona 500.
Last night. In case you haven't seen this incident, let's take another look from the Texas Motor Speedway. That is Ron Hornaday in the white number 33 truck, Kyle Busch in the black number 18. They get into each other, but Jeff, after that racing incident, here's what happened that has NASCAR angry, because this happened under caution.
Yeah, under caution. You see the 18 come up and start running in the back of Ron Hornaday, and we're talking about Kyle Busch, and he's trying to spin him out. He can't get it worked out, and all of a sudden he hooks him in the right rear and turns the 33 into the outside safer barrier.
For you newer NASCAR fans, if you want to know why Kyle Busch, a veteran driver who races pretty clean to this day, gets booed, it was because in his younger years, he had one of the biggest tempers in the NASCAR series entirely, covering Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. Kyle Busch was wrecked on accident by Ron Hornaday, and the caution came out. He would let his anger get the best of him as he would intentionally crash Ron Hornaday under caution. This was one of the biggest things to ever happen in NASCAR at the time because Ron Hornaday was competing for a championship. Kyle Busch was not. He was racing for fun in the truck series. One of the biggest and most infamous NASCAR cheating scandals there is when Jeff Gordon was added to the 2013 playoffs after Clint Bowyer intentionally spun out to bring a caution to help his teammate out, Martin Truex Jr. In this exchange, Brian Vickers would also be called down to pit road to give up a position to help Truex gain another point. Ultimately, it worked out in the end until NASCAR found out. They heavily fined Michael Waltrip Racing and penalized Bowyer and Truex in the playoffs.
One, you're analyzing it as a team, but you're arguing it with NASCAR officials, but you also want to wait until maybe a caution comes out and you can serve the penalty under caution.
Now that is the black flag with the white cross. That means come to the pits, you are no longer being scored.
Here's the problem. He's probably like us. I don't know what improper fueling means.
NASCAR official talking to crew chief Jason Ratcliffe. Larry.
Yeah, the whole key to this rule is if the fuel can is engaged. Now you see right there, it is engaged. So he's fueling the car. Now watch, he's going to lay the wrench on the deck lid. Now, if he'd have laid that wrench on the deck lid before he engaged the fuel can, it would have been no harm, no foul. But because that fuel can was engaged, you cannot do any other function.
I'm going to blow a gasket if we're black flag for 5 laps and nobody doing nothing to tell me to pit. Oh, we didn't tell you to pit because we were arguing the case. Fine, Jason, but when you get the black and white flag, they don't score you anymore until you come down pit road. Being on the tail of the lead lap is better than being 2 laps down. Man, I can't see the black and white flag when I'm down behind the pit box arguing the case.
This is still one of the biggest questionable penalties that NASCAR has ever handed down in their history. Denny Hamlin was penalized 2 days later after an incident on track. Usually that happens pretty often actually in NASCAR. But the case was, this was intentional crashing, if you will, and he intentionally crashed Ross Chastain. And they didn't penalize him during the race. So they shouldn't have had a reason to penalize him after the race. But Hamlin went on his podcast and explained how he had enough of Ross Chastain and he just wanted to put him in the wall. And that's exactly what Denny Hamlin did. And when NASCAR heard this, they frowned upon it. They ended up fining Hamlin points and money after Phoenix in 2023. This also ultimately ended the rivalry between Hamlin and Chastain that had been boiling over for over a year.
I'm about to get passed by everybody behind me who's on fresh tires. I'm about to finish in the mid-teens. And I said, "You're coming with me, buddy." Really? I let the wheel go and I said, "He's coming with me." And so I've said for a while, well, you got to do something to get these guys' attention, whatever, and I've said it, and I think that Ross doesn't like it when I speak his name in the media and when I had this microphone. But I told him, well, I have a microphone, and I'm going to call it like I see it. And until you get a microphone, you can then say whatever you want about me. But the fact is while I'm sitting here talking, I'm going to call things the way I see it, and sometimes I'm going to have to call myself out, which I'm the dumbass who lost just as many spots as he did. But at the time, I said, well, I'm going to finish anyway, and I'm just going to make sure that he finishes right here with me.
All right, well, you heard from Denny, and let's hear from NASCAR Senior VP of Competition, Elton Sawyer, on the Hamlin penalty.
When you look at this one this past weekend, we would have viewed that as a racing incident. But then as 24 hours later, have a competitor that has gone on a podcast, which I will say we're delighted that Denny has a podcast. We think that's great, interacts with the fans. But when you start admitting that you have intentionally done something that would compromise the results of the end of the race, there's no other way to look at that. We're going to get involved in those situations. We've been consistent in the past with that, and we will be consistent going forward. We want them to show their personalities. We want them to settle this. We don't want to be in the middle of it. But this one has gone on for a little while. It went on last year. Felt like maybe we were in a good spot. Looks like it was rearing its head again. And then the comments that were made afterwards put us in a position that we had no choice but to react.
Done. And look at this. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we're looking at Ryan Sieg, and he's currently running fourth. But that's Josh Williams, who was asked, as I told you, to go to the garage for extending the caution. The debris came off his car. He has parked his number 92 at the start-finish line, and he's walking to the garage. Look at this. What an exit.
Wave and see you later. And then they parked him, and he said, fine, I'll park it right here in the start-finish line.
So, you got that bear bond, and because it's so cold.
Still today, it baffles me that this even happened. Josh Williams was so fed up with NASCAR that when they decided to penalize him, he said, screw it. I'm going to park my car on the start-finish line under caution and just leave it, get out of the car, and I'm done. It was one of the most hilarious things to ever happen at NASCAR at Atlanta, and I don't think anything's ever going to top a driver getting out of his race car and leaving it on their start-finish line. Josh Williams was fined and suspended for one race, but it was kind of worth it in my opinion.